Hey guys, I'm back again with another review. This time it's of 2014's In the Blood, which is an action crime thriller, which was directed by John Stockwell, and it stars quite a few people. So let's get on with the list first. So it stars Gina Carano, who's everybody knows as an MMA female fighter, who was in Haywire. Cam Gigante, I might have said his last name wrong, but he was in Never Back Down and The Roommate, as well as some other films. Danny Trejo, we know him, he's in nearly everything. Lewis Guzman, another person who's been nearly everything. Stephen Lang and Maury Nolasco, who played Silvio Lugo, who was in Prison Break. And then we've got Treat Williams. So basically, Ava and Derek, who's played by Gina Carano and Cam Gigante, they met in rehab and they fell in love. And at the beginning of the film, they're getting married and they're going on their honeymoon to the Caribbean, where you get a lovely montage of things they're doing, driving a boat, jumping in the water, having sex. You know, what two loved up people would do. The only problem is, in my view, I didn't really feel the chemistry between them. I felt they were all right together, but I never felt like the chemistry was there. But then I guess it wasn't meant to be to a degree, because they end up meeting a guy called Manny. Yeah, that's right, Manny. And he looks a lot like Carlos Cabana, the wrestler. So they go to the club with him, and that's where we meet Danny Trejo's character, Big Biz. An interesting name, Big Biz. He tries to get off with Ava, tries to dance with her, and Derek doesn't want any of it. But what happens is Big Biz comes off as this old age pensioner who's got a bit of Alzheimer's, trying to get some action. He doesn't seem that intimidated at all. And so there comes this fight which ensures where Ava kicks butt. And this is when I've realised that in films nowadays, we don't get fights that much. We get MMA fights where people break arms, where people take them to the ground. We rarely get the old fighting of, let's say, Jackie Chan movies or even Jean-Claude movies back in the day. We don't get so much of that now. We get more of the MMA kind, which is great, but at the same time it's not, because I preferred the reality of the original kind of fighting, if you get what I mean. So that's when we also meet Silvio Lugo, who grabs hold of Big Biz and threatens him, basically goes, I'm not having any of this. Derek and Ava leave. They then go to a place the next day to do some zip lining, and Derek's thing breaks. His safety harness disappears and he falls to the ground. Now we're talking at a great height here. A very great height. He falls down and Ava goes looking for him, where she finds him. And he's got a broken leg, his foot's like this, his foot's like that. And you're like, he can't walk. So an ambulance comes, takes him away. They tell Ava that she's going to have to go to the hospital because she can't be in the ambulance with them. Thus comes the adventure that we're waiting for. All this rubbish out the window is a bit tedious at the beginning. And she goes to the hospital. They've never heard of him. She goes around everywhere. Never heard of him. That's when his family turn up, who didn't trust her in the first place, who's Treat Williams, who plays Robert Grant, Sandy Grant, and Monique Grant. They turn up. One's his sister and one's his mum and dad. Obviously, Treat Williams isn't his sister. That'd be funny if he was. Hey, I'm your sister. Hey, where's my brother? Derek. Anyway, he's the dad. And he accuses Ava of killing him herself to try and get his money. Which, to be honest with you, was a bit silly. And then, instead of waiting to find the body or trying to do anything, considering he's got tons of money, where he could have gone down around the island finding that stuff, he decides with his family to just head off back home. Not very believable, not very exciting, a bit crap, to be honest. So Ava goes around looking for him, where she meets corrupt police officers, corrupt hospitals, and she gets into fights. She looks for Manny, she looks for all these other people. And there's not enough action. There's bits where Ava is brutal and fantastic in the fact that she's very dark, but it just doesn't go that far. I never felt like the film actually had real elements to it of, like, for instance, Taken. This film's compared to Taken a lot, and in my view, it was nothing like Taken. Yeah, her husband's missing and he's been taken apparently. But it wasn't that great because Gina Carano can't act herself. Gina Carano can't act. She's not that great. She's good in supporting roles where she can be off pill, like for instance The Rock, Dwayne Johnson in Fast and the Furious 6, where she could be in the background and follow his lead. But as a main character, she's terrible. She hasn't got that presence. And then later on, we get to the ending. And the ending's really stupid. The last 15 minutes is just absolute rubbish. It tears the film apart completely. There's a bit in the movie where Derek has a broken leg. Now you got to think this was like 2-3 days after. And, you know, this is a spoiler. Obviously, this bit's a spoiler. The bad guy's gone after. He hits one on the floor and then he kicks him in the face with his cast on his broken leg. Right? And he goes, oh, in reality, he'd be on the floor screaming in agony. So I was a bit irritated by that. I felt like there needed to be a little bit more of Danny Trejo because he turns up again at the end and so forth. And it's great to be in the movie. But the film has really bad fight choreography. It has a bad screenplay. The filming felt so bad. Like, it'd go from B-movie quality to amateur quality. Like, I could have gone outside my camcorder and recorded something. That's what it felt like. It had that little bit of realism to it at the beginning, where you felt like you were actually with them to a degree because of the way the filming was. But it's got this really cheap, tacky feel to it, cheaper than a B movie. If I had to recommend this movie, I'd recommend it to people who like really bad action / thriller movies. It's not got a lot to it. Gina Carano's a great MMA fighter, and she could be a great action person if she didn't have to talk. But she's not good on screen. She hasn't got great acting abilities. She needs to practice them. She just feels like she's there just talking. That's what it felt like. And the regulars like Treat Williams, the Danny Trejo, Lewis Guzman, they just feel like they're phoning in the performance. They don't feel like they're even really bothering. And I think that's bad as well. There is some good scenes and there isn't enough to the story. The story is ridiculous, more ridiculous than something like Taken, and it really feels like nothing's really happening. And then when it does at the end, the whole point of the movie as well, with the double meaning title in the blood is a bit silly as well. And overall, I'd recommend it if you like silly, really bad action thrillers. Don't go into this thinking, oh, I'm watching a film like Taken because it's not even in the same class. Not even in the same class as Taken 2. And that says a lot because Taken 2 was not that great. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and take care and have a lovely day.